I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School, and I, uh, I wanted to take some time to have a good conversation with you guys about some stuff that I was thinking about today. I've been thinking about this all day long. In case you're wondering why I'm walking around here with a medal around my neck, it is because I just did a 5K. And you guys know that I am into my weight loss journey. I've been trying to lose weight, got tired of being a fat ass, and I'm on my way to being the opposite of a fat ass, and that is a guy that's in shape. I want to say hi to Erica Walker and Fred W. And what is antitrust law? I will explain that in a moment. Today we're about to have school church, if you will. I'm going to explain a lot of things to you because I think it's important. A lot of you have been following what's been going on with Farrakhan and the whole banning from Facebook that took place this week for the minister. And you guys know also, if you know me at all, you know that I was not very happy about the ban, as a lot of people were not happy. And here's the thing. When you're not happy about something, you come up with solutions. At the very least, you fight back. And so there's a lot happening right now with Facebook and with this whole situation. And I think it's kind of interesting to kind of observe this as a community, since a lot of us are just sick of Facebook. Now, let me ask you this question. As you hit the thumbs up button, I hope you'll hit that thumbs up button. Tell me how you feel about Facebook. Do you feel that Facebook is fair to black people? Do you feel that Facebook is a fair company? Do you feel that they're racist? Do you feel that Facebook is blocking and violating freedom of speech? Do you feel that Facebook is doing everything right? What do you think? What do you think? Now, a lot of you who are in my stock market investing class, some of you may own Facebook stock, and that's totally fine. I actually encourage you to own stock in a lot of different companies, but but the thing about it is that, as Yadil says, you have to think bigger than Facebook and YouTube. Stephanie Lightfoot, they're controlling. Yes, they are very controlling. And the thing is that it looks like some chickens are coming home to roost for this company. There's an article that I saw in the New York Times today that basically was written by a co-founder of Facebook. And the co-founder was basically saying that Facebook needs to be broken up into little pieces. And I thought it was a beautifully written article. It was very long, thousands and thousands of words. It wasn't no short little piece. And he just went all the way in terms of just not so much making it personal, not attacking Mark Zuckerberg. He said Mark Zuckerberg is a good person, this, that, and the other. But he really laid down some powerful information that I think can benefit a lot of people in terms of kind of understanding what's going on. Now, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button before we get started. Please hit that thumbs up button. And also, I want to remind you guys, if you don't like Facebook and you're tired of it, Black Enough is our plan B. Blackenough.com is where black folks are gathering now. It's an addition to Facebook, and that's how you spell it. And I'm holding that up so you guys can see how to spell it. Somebody please type that in so that other people can see it. And there are thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of black folks on the platform. We are going to shut it down soon. We're not going to let everybody in there. I want it to be invitation only, so that so we won't have a lot of trolls and feds and Russian bots and all that stuff. Anyway, let me see. He was hating on CNBC in the morning. I don't much fuck with Facebook. Who was hating on CNBC stock market, Bill? Was it the guy that wrote the article? I don't consider him to be a hater. I see him as a person who made a really, I thought he made a pretty cogent argument. I thought that he did a really good job of laying out the case for why Facebook was in violation of antitrust law. I felt that he really, pretty objectively dissected the issues with Facebook. I thought that he, did a good job. I didn't think that there was any major issues in terms of how he proceeded to do what he did. I thought it was pretty good. Now, somebody's asking, why do I have a medal on? I have a medal on because I'm weird and I'm proud. I just ran a 5K today, and I just finished the 5K. And so this is part of my health journey. And so I'm doing this to encourage you guys to work on your health. We don't need a lot more John Singletons out here. We need some people that are going to live a long time, and you do have a choice in that process. So my goal is to try to encourage you to always think about your health. So let's dive into this a little bit. Shout out your city real quick. If you haven't shouted out your city, let's do the quick city shout out. Shout out your city, where you're from. Rich Beyond Sight, can I use your head for graphics on t-shirts? It's going to say butter bean head. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, that's, well, you're probably pretty accurate with that. Let me see. Amanda from Atlanta. Gilda Detox. Okay. Yeah, I need a detox. Gilda from San Diego. I see Harlem. Is that Trap? Harlem, can you hold that sign up again, please? Yes, it's Blag Enough. Blagenough.com. That's the Facebook for Black people in terms of places you can go in addition to Facebook, not necessarily instead of, but in addition to, in order for you to do social media with Black folks without worrying about getting banned over something stupid. So I wrote it down so that people could spell it. And where did the term come from? Well, basically we wanted people who are Black enough. So we wanted to call it Black enough, but we said let's invent a word. So we said, okay, let's Blag enough. Yeah, are you Blag enough? So that's where it came from. So that's why we named it that. All right. So let me go into this article real quick. This article is written by a guy named Chris Hughes, and Chris Hughes. The title of the article is "It's Time to Break Up Facebook," and he says the last time I saw Mark Zuckerberg was in the summer of 2017. Several months before the Cambridge Analytica scandal broke. We met at Facebook's Menlo Park, California office and drove to his house in a quiet, leafy neighborhood. We spent an hour or two together while his toddler daughter cruised around. We talked politics mostly, a little about Facebook, a little bit about our families. When the shadows grew long, I had to head out. I hugged his wife Priscilla and said goodbye to Mark. So the last time they saw each other was in 2017. So it's not like they haven't been friends for a long time, where they've hated each other's guts for years. Literally, it's recent, and that's pretty fascinating that it was pretty recent. And so this is a guy that knows Mark Zuckerberg really well. He worked with him. He co-founded Facebook, and they've been recent friends. So I'm sure Mark isn't his friend anymore, but that's what it was. He says, since then, Mark's personal reputation and the reputation of Facebook have taken a nosedive. The company's mistakes, the sloppy privacy practices that drop tens of millions of users' data into a political consulting firm's lap, the slow response to Russian agents, violent rhetoric and fake news, and the unbounded drive to capture ever more of our time and attention dominate the headlines. It's been 15 years since I co-founded Facebook at Harvard, and I haven't worked at the company in a decade, but I feel a sense of anger and responsibility. So he's owning up to his role in creating the beast that is called Facebook. And I find that admirable and fascinating. It's very interesting. I'm going to go ahead and text out the rest of the family and let them know that we're live now, so they can come in. If you want to get a text alert when we go live, because like on the Your Black World channel, there are 300 and something thousand subscribers. So in YouTube and Facebook, they control these algorithms, so they don't alert you when we go live most of the time. So if you really want to make sure you get an alert, text the word Boyce. Just get on your phone and do it real quick while I do this. Text Boyce to 31996, or you can write it down and do it later. Text the word Boyce to 31996. So I'm going to text out the family and let the family know that we're live now, so they can come in. Let's see here. All right. Now, what got me about Facebook is the whole issue with Farrakhan. I hope you guys agree, with me in that the banning of Farrakhan didn't make any sense. It was over the top. It was kind of ridiculous. It wasn't fair. It was unethical. They labeled him as dangerous and lumped him in with people like Milo Yiannopoulos, who took heat because he liked to have sex with underage boys. And I think that's kind of the unfortunate side of being black sometimes, is that white folks will lump you in with anybody. Like, just because you are black, they will lump you in with crazy people, with people that have sex with children. They'll lump you in with criminals. They lump you in with the biggest dirtbags in society. And so they lumped Farrakhan in with Alex Jones and Milo Yiannopoulos. Now, Alex Jones is the guy who said something about the shootings of the kids at the school, that it was all a government conspiracy or something. And then Milo literally the Republicans and the Democrats stopped messing with him because he was out here talking about having sex with little boys and how great it is to make love with a 13-year-old girl or something like that. And so anyway, Farrakhan gets lumped in. They called him dangerous. They said he's promoting violence. I haven't seen. Tell me yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. Have you seen Farrakhan promoting violence? Have you seen Farrakhan? If Farrakhan, let me just say this. Let me just say it like this. If Farrakhan were promoting violence, then there would be violence out in the streets. Like seriously, I'm going to ask everybody in here, the brothers in here, if the minister was telling you to come together as troops and get ready for war, and there was an issue that we all felt strongly about, and it was time for us to be violent, and he told us to be violent, would you listen? Would you at least consider joining in the violence? I'd say the answer is yes. I think a lot of brothers would. I think if Farrakhan at the Million Man March, remember, he's the only person that was able to gather 1 million black men, 2 million black men together in Washington, D.C. in the 1990s. So if Farrakhan had wanted violence, he would have got violence. Like the idea that they're saying Farrakhan's promoting violence, the fact that the reason that it's easy to argue that he's not promoting violence is because if he were promoting violence, there would be violence. I know the brothers in the Nation of Islam. I live, my place in Chicago was right around the corner from the minister. And I know how loyal they are. And I can tell you, they ain't no punks. My brothers in the Nation of Islam ain't no punks. Have you seen, yes or no? Have you seen how the Nation of Islam operates? Yes or no? Tell me if you've seen it. Tell me your opinion of the Nation of Islam and what you've seen from the nation. Some of y'all are in the nation. The brothers in the Nation of Islam, they're not no punks. They're very brave. They're very disciplined. They're very strategic. They're very prepared. The brothers from the Nation of Islam go into neighborhoods that the police won't go. The brothers from the Nation of Islam always show up front and center when a politician gets a death threat and the local police can't be trusted to protect them. I can tell you how many times these politicians, these little cowardly ass politicians, who want to act like they don't know Farrakhan, want to act like they don't want to condemn him because some Zionist told them to condemn him. I can't tell you how many of these fake punk, weak ass politicians were offered protection by the Nation of Islam because nobody else would do it, because their life was under threat. And I want you to tell me yes or no. Tell me yes or no. Can you name any prominent black politician in the Congressional Black Caucus who stood up for Farrakhan when Facebook took him down? Name one. Give me a name. Can you give me a name? If you can't give me a name, say no, I don't have a name. But if you have a name, give me the name so I can thank that person. Tell me who that is a black politician. Or shit, I mean, even black celebrities other than Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg stood up. But I didn't see nobody else besides Snoop Dogg. Nobody prominent. Maybe there was a couple of rappers somewhere, but I didn't see no politicians speaking up for the minister. Now, I want you to really think about how stupid that makes all of y'all look. And I'll say y'all, I'm talking about all of us. We're the y'all. How stupid does that make all of us look as black people when the Nation of Islam has stood up for so many prominent black people who needed protection? They go after the minister, and ain't none of y'all stood up for him. Ain't nobody stood up for him. You should be ashamed of yourself. If you are a politician and you took help from the minister and protection from the minister and support from the minister, and you did not speak up when they persecuted the minister, then shame on you. You are a punk. You are not worthy of breathing or air in this society because you're worse than the lowest level of scum that's out here. It'd be one thing if you said, I'm not helping the minister because I ain't never took no support from him. I ain't never needed nothing from him. I don't want nothing from him, so I ain't going to defend him. That would be fine. But if he supported you and you didn't come out and support him, then let's just be clear. That kind of makes you a coon. That kind of makes you a coon. That kind of makes Barack Obama, the minister, supported you when you were getting elected. And you ain't said nothing about him being banned from Facebook. That kind of makes you a coon. Barack, no disrespect, but I'm sorry, I just got to call it like it is. That kind of makes you a coon. This man supported you. This man showed respect for you. This man showed love for you every chance he got. And you were nowhere to be found when they came after him. And I'm going to tell you like this. From what I know, again, I can't speak for the minister. I can't speak for the nation. I'm not of the nation. I've met with the minister a few times, and I do like him as a person. He's always been kind toward me. If somebody had ever threatened the Obamas, if the shit ever really went down, and the Obamas needed somebody to protect them as black people, the Nation of Islam would have been the first group there to show their support. And I just need y'all to just really process that for a minute. Just process that. Just how, it just don't make no sense. And I'm not even talking about you having to agree with him. I'm not saying like you got to agree with everything that he says or the nation says. I went to the minister's house to talk to him directly one time because this lady that used to work with me named Yvette Carnell, who runs the ADOS movement, did a hit piece on him, and I was very upset about it, very disappointed. I said, you could disagree with him, but you ain't got no business acting like he ain't never did nothing for black folks. What's wrong with you, you idiot? And I went to, so I was fired up, I was mad, but I went to meet with the minister about Yvette Carnell, who's one of the most toxic human beings I've ever met in my life. The ADOS members, I like the members of ADOS, and we're all ADOS. We're all descendants of slave, most of us. So that has nothing to do with, but with her, I just said, I don't understand what is with this negative energy toward black men who would never harm you, who would never do anything to you, who've never done anything to you. So I went to speak to the minister, and I kid you not, and I talked to him about Yvette specifically. And I said, hey, minister, I just want to talk to you about what's going on. I believe in freedom of speech, and this is a test, freedom of speech for me. And I just wanted to talk to you about it and see how you felt. And he literally was as gracious as a person could be. He didn't say, oh, this old blankety blank, how you gonna let this woman say this and say that? Or he didn't do no double talk, like pretend to be nice on one hand, but then really do something sneaky on the other hand. No, he said, I forgive her. And I want you to not just forgive her with me, but I want you to encourage her to continue to speak. He literally said he wanted me to encourage her to. And I said, wow, that's above and beyond, And so to me, I'm just sitting here. Look. Here's the thing. I know toxic people. I know dangerous people. Believe me, I've worked with a lot of different kinds of people, and I've come in contact with some dangerous personalities. And sometimes y'all even see me on screen with some dangerous personalities. Just chalk it up to my naivete and my misguided belief in black people. You give everybody a chance until they start acting crazy or whatever. And I've seen dangerous people up close, and I've seen the minister up close. And I've never seen anything from the minister that said that he was a dangerous person that needs to be banned from social media. And I really want to say, as a community, we should be ashamed that we did not work harder to say more about it. I think that celebrities and politicians who were silent about it should be called out for their silence. I really do believe that, especially if you received either support, protection, or counsel from the minister. And I'm gonna tell you another thing, a lot of these celebrities, mainstream black celebrities, will call Minister Farrakhan when ain't nobody looking. They'll call him and don't tell nobody we're talking, and he'll and he's gracious enough, strategic enough. See, that's the thing. That's one thing he's got that a lot of y'all black folks ain't got. He understands strategy. And strategy means, okay, I'll talk to you in private because I want you to succeed. I want you to be part of the mainstream. I want you to be successful with those people because I know that they're going to have an issue with me. So he'll support people behind the scenes. And I'm not going in. I don't want to just go into this too much because I don't want to risk, talking in a way where I'm speaking out of my place on this. But I'm going to tell you, we should be ashamed of ourselves for not doing more to support the minister during that situation. And the celebrities and the politicians who didn't speak, take notes, and just that tells you who's real and who ain't. So, and I'm gonna tell you, Snoop Dogg came out as about the realest motherfucker I've ever seen in my life because Snoop went in front of 30 million people and said it and told it exactly like it is. He said, "Ban me, motherfucker," and that takes a lot for a celebrity with 30 million followers to say something like that on social media when he's got 30 million followers and probably a 30 million relationships and 30 million business deals and 30 million white fans that love him to death, or whatever, who don't like the fact that he will even rep Farrakhan in that way, who will try to punish him for that. But yet he still had the balls to do that, and I think that that's the kind of manhood we need in our community. I mean, the bottom line is that sometimes you just got to do what's right. That's it. That's all I'm saying is sometimes, man, stop over calculating sometimes. Sometimes you just got to do what's right, man. Seriously. And y'all know that there wasn't nothing right about that man getting banned from Facebook. There was nothing right about that. Okay, so anyway, let me keep going. Please hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done that. I know some of y'all haven't hit it yet. Please hit the thumbs up button. And also, if you want to get on our mailing list and get, and remain connected to us in case Facebook bans us, which they will at some point. Facebook's going to ban me. I know that they are. That I get kicked off Facebook for 30 days at a time, about once every 3 or 4 months. About once every 3 or 4 months. They'll find something that I posted 6 years ago. Last time I got banned, it was for something I posted in like 2013 or 2014. And y'all know me, I've been posting what's on my mind for the last decade. So at some point they're gonna find some post from 7 years ago or whatever where I quoted Muhammad Ali or something, and they're gonna kick me off. So if you want to stay connected, go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. You'll be on my list, and that way I can still connect with you through email in case we can't connect. And also, if you want to get text alerts when we go live, you can text the word Boyce, Boyce, to 31996. Text Boyce to 31996. So in this article written by this co-founder of Facebook, Chris Hughes, who I actually respect him tremendously for writing this article, he says, Mark is still the same person I watched hug his parents as they left our dorm's common room at the beginning of our sophomore year. He is the same person who procrastinated studying for tests, fell in love with his future wife while in line for the bathroom at a party, and slept on a mattress on the floor in a small apartment years after he could have afforded much more. In other words, he's human, but it's his very humanity that makes his unchecked power so problematic. Mark's influence is staggering, far beyond that of anyone else in the private sector or in government. He controls 3 core communications platforms. He controls Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. How many of you use one of those 3 apps? Yes or no, yes or no. How many of you use Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp? How many of you use one of those 3? Yes or no? Give me a yes or no. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Yeah, and it's fascinating how he achieved that much power. And so check this out. This is what's also interesting. Mark controls 60% of the voting shares of these companies. So they said that Mark alone can decide how to configure Facebook's algorithms to determine what people see in their news feeds, what privacy settings they can use, and even which messages get delivered. He sets the rules for how to distinguish violent and incendiary speech from the merely offensive, and he can choose to shut down a competitor by acquiring it, blocking it, or copying it. So one man, I mean, you know, a lot of y'all have been triggered to believe that Donald Trump is the most important or most powerful man on earth, or that he's the dictator that we should all be afraid of. And maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what to think on that one way or the other. But what I will say, I will dare to say that Mark Zuckerberg either exceeds Trump in power or is very, very close. Because remember, Trump has checks and balances. He's got Congress, you know, that can slow him down. He's got the courts, the judicial branch that can slow him down, judicial, legislative, and executive branches, right? Y'all learned all that in school. When y'all wasn't learning black history, they was teaching you all the white history they could. And one of the things they taught you about white history was how white folks set together a system that's supposed to have these checks and balances so that they would not have a tyrant running the country, right? Now, you might say Trump is a tyrant, but I'm going to tell you what, America is a much different country with Trump having checks and balances than it would be if Trump was unchecked like a Mark Zuckerberg. If Trump was allowed to do whatever he wanted to do, anytime he wanted to do it, it would be a whole different country. We'd be about 2-3 wars. that wall with Mexico would have been built. His enemies would have been locked up. It starting with Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama on down. I mean, Trump would be a beast. What controls the beast? Well, the system. It's not a great system, but one good thing about the system is it does contain what he is and is not able to do. So the author of the article, which I really like about this, is that he doesn't get into petty stuff like he doesn't like Mark is a jerk and I hate Mark and Mark is an ass. He just gets into he starts off by saying Mark is a good, kind person, but I'm angry that his focus on growth has led him to sacrifice security and civility for clicks. I'm disappointed in myself and the early Facebook team for not thinking more about how the news feed algorithm could change our culture, influence elections, and empower nationalist leaders. I'm worried that Mark has surrounded himself with a team that reinforces his beliefs instead of challenging them. And the interesting thing about that is that the guy who wrote this article in the New York Times actually said that he is his name is on the patent for the newsfeed. That when they got the newsfeed done and they created the patent, his name is actually on that patent. So he's when he says he was down, like he's really connected, he's really connected. And it's funny. I remember talking to another guy, another white dude who was actually this. He was very wealthy, and he give me 1 second here. And he's worth all this money. And I remember when I talked to him about Facebook, and one of the things that he said, I knew Mark back when he was in college, and he basically said Facebook is evil. And that was where we bonded, because I said, yeah, I can tell you about a million evil things they've done to me. I can tell you about things that they've done in the black community. He had no idea. This is a guy who wasn't even black, who had other issues with Facebook that go into stealing people's data. They go into censorship, like censoring people. They go into the way they have extracted and exploited massive profits from both the users of Facebook as well as the businesses that build their platforms on Facebook. Mark Cuban, the billionaire that owns the Dallas Mavericks, or Dallas, is it Dallas Mavericks? Yeah. He actually tried his best to get people to go to Pinterest or whatever to leave Facebook, because he built up this page and got all these followers. And then Zuckerberg, not just Facebook, but Zuckerberg changed the algorithm where he couldn't reach his fans anymore. Anybody have a Facebook page where you used to, remember the days when you used to be able to reach all the people that were on your page, and now you put something up there and it gets shown to like maybe 3 or 4 people? And it's crazy because, on my personal page alone, I have 80,000 followers on that personal page. But I will put up a post, and I guarantee you that it's not being seen by more than 500 people. And then I have another page that has 400,000 people. We have another page that has 250,000. We had a page that had 650,000 followers, and it was I forgot what it was called, but anyway, this page I had. Some of y'all might have known me way back then. This page literally, it was a powerful page. The rapper Young M.A. I put a video of Young M.A.'s on my page just to do commentary about it and kind of express a thought that I had about it. And that video went so viral on the page that she became the biggest rapper in New York. Like, she literally went on The Breakfast Club and some other channels and said, and Vlad TV, I think, you can go Google this. And she said that, I don't like Boyce Watkins. I kind of think he's a jerk. But then again, if it wasn't for the fact that he put my video on his page, I wouldn't have gotten my record deal, right? And I was very happy for her, by the way. I was really happy. I want to say for the young lady, but I don't know if she would take offense to that, and I don't know how she sees herself. But it wasn't. But the thing was, I think that she probably was offended by my words, because if you don't understand my style, you'll think that me telling the truth about what I think is me attacking you, and I wasn't attacking her. I was actually really talking about hip hop and talking about the mental health issue of our community, that we have young people that feel like they have to rap like serial killers in order to sell a record, that white folks have got into your head so bad that they make you believe that you must promote your own genocide in order for you to live out your dreams, in order for you to be successful. And I think that that's wrong. I don't agree with that. I think we got to think about everything that comes out of our mouth, everything that goes in our ears, everything that appears about us on mass media. Doesn't mean everything's got to be perfect. Doesn't mean everything's got to be goody two shoes. But it does mean that we got to think about that shit. I mean, come on now. Seriously, you really think it's okay from a metaphysical, spiritual, psychological, sociological standpoint to have any old kind of garbage that anybody can piss out and shit out onto a record, distributed to millions of people into the minds of 9-year-old children? Do you understand that the reason you have fucked up adults out here is because they were little children who got fucked up as kids and now they're adults, and now you're like, why are our people so screwed up? Well, because if you rot the seed, then you're going to rot the flower. You're going to get a dead, nasty plant. Right? So we need to protect our seeds, and you protect your seeds by educating your own children and controlling what they hear and what they see in terms of media. You got to do that. If you don't understand that, then you're going to always get played. So let me keep going. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done that yet. So he says, Mark is a good, kind person. He says the government must hold Mark accountable, though. For too long, lawmakers have marveled at Facebook's explosive growth and overlooked their responsibility to ensure that Americans are protected and markets are competitive. Any day now, the Federal Trade Commission is expected to impose a $5 billion fine on the company, but that is not enough. Nor is Facebook's offer to appoint some kind of privacy czar. After Mark's congressional testimony last year, there should have been calls for him to truly reckon with his mistakes. Instead, the legislators who questioned him were derided as too old and out of touch to understand how tech works. That's the impression Mark wants Americans to have, because it means that little will change. So does anybody else remember when Zuckerberg was testifying in front of Congress? Anybody remember that? Yes or no? Did anybody check any of that out? So he's testifying in front of Congress, and it's a big deal. You know, all the media's covering it. Everybody's talking about it. Now I want to ask you this. All that money was spent, millions of dollars, thousands of hours, 10,000 pages of congressional reports. What changed as a result of that testimony? Like, what happened? Like, what legislation got passed? Was Facebook punished? Did they go lock somebody up? Did they, what changed? Nothing. Zero. Nothing, not a damn thing. What's Duke Ellington without that swing? Remember, like I said, though, that nothing changed at all, because that whole hearing was political theater, and that's what they do. They'll do a bunch of hearings and a bunch of whatever, and for whatever reason, because our government is so dysfunctional, they don't have enough teeth to actually get anything done. So the whole thing goes down, it comes and it goes and it's over, and nobody cares. Like, nobody knows, it doesn't matter, who gives a shit, let's move on, right? And the American people got their show, and that's what they wanted. And here's the thing about that $5 billion fine. He mentions in the article, and this is such a long article, it's a beautifully written piece though. I recommend, if you're a reader, I suggest you go read this article. It's by a guy named Chris Hughes, and it says, I think it says it's time to break up Facebook. And one of the things that Chris Hughes brings up, now again, he's a co-founder of Facebook, and I thought it was really fascinating. He said that Mark Zuckerberg, check this out, pay attention. This is pimping right here. This is like major game. Like Mark Zuckerberg should be in the Players Ball Hall of Fame for being able to pull this off. Check this out. He announces in his earnings call. Now, those of you who are in my stock market investing class, you understand the importance of the earnings calls and expectations and all that. He gets in his earnings call with investors, where he has to tell the investors, because they're a publicly traded company, he has to tell them, like what's going on with the company, like what they lost money on, what they made money on, where they're going to go next, blah blah blah. So he drops this. He says, well, we're going to be hit with a $5 billion fine from the Federal Trade Commission. We're most likely to lose $5 billion with a B, $5 billion, right? Do you know that the stock price went up after he made that announcement? And he gained an extra $30 billion in market value. Y'all do the math. You lose $5 billion, you make 30. you keep going on with business as usual. So effectively, what Facebook does, and Zuckerberg's game is so tight. This is why I keep telling y'all to teach your kids about business and technology, because a lot of y'all got kids in your family that are smarter than Mark Zuckerberg. He started this company in his damn dorm room. Some of y'all got kids going to college one day who could do the same damn thing, but y'all got them all wired up and hooked up on the idea of going to work for some white man. Zuckerberg ain't never, he mentions this too, he says Zuckerberg ain't never had a boss. He said Mark does not want a boss. Mark does not want anybody telling him what to do. Mark got offered $1 billion from Yahoo in 2006. They went to him as a 20-something year, 22, 23-year-old kid and said, we'll give you $1 billion with a B, $1 billion for your company. And he told them to go to hell. And you know why he told them that he didn't want to sell? This is what he told his homeboy. It's all in this article. He said, because I don't want a boss. I don't want to work for this guy. That's what it was. So again, you know, when I speak on Zuckerberg as being evil, I mean it. But he's an evil genius. And he's a bad motherfucker when it comes to the way he's been able to build that business. Strategic. He saw Instagram popping up, giving him a challenge. He said, well, let's go buy it. Now he owns Instagram. No more competition. He saw WhatsApp popping up in third world countries. That was giving them a challenge. He said, let's go buy it. No more competition. He saw Snapchat coming in with the stories, and Snapchat's a little tougher because they're like, we're not selling, we're gonna resist, we're not gonna ever sell out to the evil empire. So he said, okay, no problem. He said, do you know what his slogan was with the company? The slogan in the company was, never be too proud to copy. Never be too proud to copy what somebody else is doing. So you know what they did? Anybody notice? Tell me if you noticed. Snapchat was the first company to have stories. Now, guess who else has stories? Right there on your timeline. That was a deliberate strategy that came from the mind of Zuckerberg and his advisors, where they said, okay, cool, we'll just copy what they're doing and do it exactly the way they're doing it. Because they have a patent on some of this, but they couldn't patent everything. Right? So basically what I'm really getting at here is that, you know, Facebook has too much power. Zuckerberg is evil. He is a young little prick that you know literally called people dumb fucks for sharing their data with him. He did say that. There was a text message where he got caught calling them dumb fucks for giving them all their private information. So he's all those things. He's evil and all these other. But I mean, if you want to talk about a case study on powernomics, up in that bitch. I mean, y'all see me and Dr. Claude Anderson talking about powernomics every week. Ain't nobody, very few people in this country have practiced powernomics better than Mark Zuckerberg. The only part I don't like is the part that ends up being evil and controlling and censoring other people. I just kind of wish Zuckerberg was a better person. Like that's part of it too. And I wish he was black like me so he would understand me and wouldn't go ban people like Farrakhan. But really, you know, the interesting thing is that, and the guy communicates this in this article, is that he's saying, look, I'm not trying to say Mark is a bad person. I'm just saying that this is too much power for one man to have. But understand, he was clever enough to accumulate that power the same way Hitler was clever enough to accumulate all the power he needed to do whatever he wanted to do in Nazi Germany, right? And we know Hitler, you know, did some stuff that was pretty horrible. But, you know, some might say Hitler was a pretty smart dude. You don't get that much power without being smart. So when you're talking to your kids about, you know, success, first thing, you know, somebody said haters gonna hate, you know, and I'm not gonna say everybody that has an issue with Zuckerberg is a hater because they have legitimate concerns. I'm one of those people who agrees entirely that there's too much power. Also, I've been personally affected by Facebook, but they're the company you love to hate because we still do business on Facebook. We still use Facebook for a lot of things we do. So even as we created Blag Enough, I wasn't saying leave Facebook. I was like, well, just diversify away from Facebook because you don't want them to have that power over you. But I think that when you're talking to your kids about business, I would tell them the Mark Zuckerberg story, maybe even go through this article and kind of talk about just from a strategic standpoint, you know, the approach they took, because it was absolutely brilliant. You know, it just ends up being bad for the country. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. Also, you're at drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. So if you're not black or intelligent or want to be intelligent, then you should not be here. This is not the place for you. Also, if you want to support intelligent black media and help us push our message around the world, we could use your support. We'd love to have you as a patron on the channel and part of our League of Intelligent Black People. So feel free to go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. Another reminder, I'll be in Philadelphia May 19th doing a day-long financial Juneteenth investing seminar. There's a whole list of things we're going to cover for the entire day. It'll be me and you in a small group, and I'm going to break it all down for you. And when you walk out of there, you will be an investor, but you'll also be more deeply entrenched in investing. You'll be very comfortable with it by the time we're done. It's an experiment. We're going to try this out in Philadelphia. So if you're interested, go to drboycephiladelphia.com. That's drboycephiladelphia.com. You can use since you're on the podcast, you can use the code word Philly and get 50% off. Use the code word Philly. And if you want to do the digital version of that seminar, since some of you are out of Philly or outside of Philly and you want to actually learn the same stuff, what we did was we created a 7-week masterclass online. It's going to be a digital masterclass where we're going to take that one-day seminar, stretch it out over 7 weeks, 1 hour per week. And if you want to take a look at that, go to drboyceseminars.com. That's Dr. Boyce Seminars with an S.com. So feel free to go check that out. Dr. Boyce Philadelphia and Dr. Boyce Seminars. Okay, so hit the thumbs up button. Let me keep going in this article. We're talking about Mark Zuckerberg and the fact that Farrakhan is kind of just the beginning of Zuckerberg in terms of the issues that they're facing. I also think that the fact that Facebook has so many enemies in so many places gives us an opportunity to kind of challenge them. I will give Zuckerberg credit for being a bully, for being a genius, but he's a bully genius and who has way too much power, and you got to take down the bad guy. And I think that the government needs to make that move, because what you've got now is, and again, it's communicated in this article from Zuckerberg's friend and co-founder, Chris Hughes, I believe that's his name, who basically says that, he saw Mark in a situation where he decided that it was Myanmar. There was something going on in Myanmar, a small country. And Zuckerberg on his own unilaterally decided that certain messages from people in Myanmar should not be allowed to happen. Like Burma. Is it Burma? Okay, was it Burma? Okay, well, maybe it's the same. Forgive my lack of geography understanding. I'm going to just shut up before I say something totally stupid. But long story short, he shut down their ability to communicate. He basically just made the decision, like, they're not going to be able to talk on Facebook, so he stopped letting them talk. Now, in that particular case, it was to prevent genocide, but still, the fact that he was able to do that by himself without asking for anybody's permission was pretty alarming. And so the guy goes into the history of antitrust law, the way the federal government historically is not supposed to allow and support monopolies. If anybody remembers, the Bell companies got sort of chopped up back in the 80s. Microsoft was under fire for having a monopoly and using its monopoly power in unfair ways. But that sort of just got dropped after George Bush Jr. got into office. But he says basically as a country, we've kind of walked away from that. Like, we stopped sort of believing that, that one company should not control an entire industry. And I just really kind of think that that this guy, I give him tremendous credit for writing this article. I thought it was really well written. I thought that he wrote it in a way where he provided support for his points. He wasn't writing it like a hater, like, oh, I used to work with Mark and now I can't stand his ass. It was more like, here are some logical reasons. Mark is a good guy. Like, let's just assume that he's a great guy. He's a good friend. I saw him in 2017. We were buddies back then. But here are some issues and concerns that I have. And I thought he did really good with that. I'm sure Zuckerberg isn't happy with the article, but I thought it was great. It's great particularly given that it was just this week that Louis Farrakhan was banned from Facebook, along with some other people they defined to be extremists and dangerous and all this other stuff, which they're not. I think it was Alex Jones and Milo Yiannopoulos or whatever. And it's just kind of crazy. So if you want to take a look at the article is called "It's Time to Break Up Facebook," and it's in the New York Times. You don't have to have a subscription to read this. I think the Times allows you to read it without a subscription. I guess because they want a lot of people to read it. But and I'll tell you what, another thing too, if anybody's into businesses that involve publishing or journalism or writing, things like that, you may want to take a look at the way the New York Times has actually been able to put together a great business model based on subscriptions that's actually worked really well for them. They're actually one of the few companies that, because you saw Essence got bought, they got bought because they couldn't compete in the digital world. Ebony got bought, because they couldn't compete in the digital world. A lot of white companies got bought because they couldn't compete in the digital world. The New York Times, however, has done an amazing job of using subscription-based revenue to support their platform. And in fact, their earnings have actually been going up, and I can see why. It's because their content is so high quality, and you see this article, and you're really intrigued by it, and you want to read that article. And so, actually, if anybody is into writing and making money as a blogger or writer or things like that, we actually have a class on that in the Black Business School at greatblackwriters.com. The first month is free. You can go to greatblackwriters.com, and it's all about how to build a powerhouse brand online, how to make money as a blogger or a writer, things like that. So it's greatblackwriters.com. So feel free to check that out. So let me give you guys the Melanated Mogul. I gave you the Melanated Mogul of the day earlier, Sarah Bickford, but actually I'm going to skip to another person. The new Melanated Mogul is Mr. Jerome Holland. Now, if y'all went to public school like me or even private school, you probably never heard of Jerome Holland. So yes or no, who knows about Jerome Holland? Does anybody know about Jerome Holland? He's the Melanated Mogul of the day. This is the type of history you should have been learning in school. You should have been learning about your own people, but instead you learn about your slave masters. So we're going to fix that. It's never too late for us to go backward and undo the brainwashing. Okay, so Jerome Holland was born in 1916. He died in 1985. His industry was diplomacy. He was a diplomat. Jerome Holland became the first African American in 1972 to sit on the board of the New York Stock Exchange, and he did so until 1980. Holland also wrote a number of economic studies of African Americans, including Black Opportunity, 1969. Jerome Holland became the first African American to sit on the board of the exchange, and also he okay, wait. Why is this? Okay, I think this might be a typo because it's actually there twice. But anyway, so that's what Jerome Holland did, and these are the people that you should be learning about in school. Now this is the first card I've seen that actually had a typo, so I'm gonna actually get that fixed right away. But anyway, so ashe to the ancestor Jerome Holland, and ashe to all the ancestors that we should have learned about that we never learned about because we were too busy going to school learning about white people. So don't curse your children with the same problem that you and I had. Educate them yourself. We believe in the Black Core of Three. The Black Core of Three is that we believe Black people should educate our own children, create our own jobs, and support Black businesses. So that's what we do. That's what we believe. And these flashcards, actually, if you want to get our Black History flashcards, you can go to melanatedflashcards.com. That's melanatedflashcards.com. We covered economic moguls and men and women and thinkers and all kinds of stuff. So feel free to check that out if you want tools to educate your kids. Another reminder, if you are on iTunes at all, we are on iTunes. This podcast is on iTunes. If you are a Black man and you want to join our Coalition for Black Men, you must be a Black man to join, but you can join us at blackmenunited.net. Won't cost you a thing. That's blackmenunited.net. And if you want social media, not called Facebook, you can go to blagenough.com. So if you are Black enough, if you're Black enough, then join us at blagenough.com. There are people on there right now, and there are also tools on there that will let you figure out which members live in your same city so you can network with other Black folks in the area. So we want to build a critical mass of people, and then we are going to shut it down and make it invitation only because we don't want everybody and their mama up in there, especially Russian bots and all this other stuff. So I'm out of here, guys. Take care. And Carl says, brother, I love how you handle the situation with Tommy. Be blessed, sir. Oh, Tommy Sotomayor. Yeah, I think Tommy, by the way, Tommy Sotomayor said that he wants to come on my show next week, and he is absolutely welcome to come into the platform. And I want to make it 100% abundantly clear. Go back and tell Tommy this. I ain't fighting no Black people in 2019. I ain't trying to fight my brother Tommy Sotomayor. He can do what he wants to do. I ain't got no hate, no nothing. If he wants to come up in here, I'm going to disagree with you. If I think what you're saying is bullshit, I'm going to say, well, I think that's bullshit. But I ain't got to fight. I ain't going to fight no Tommy Sotomayor. So he can sit over there fighting me all day if he wants to, but I'm not going to fight him. That doesn't mean we're going to be allies necessarily. But, I just, here's the $1 million question, right? Why fight Black people when there are just so many white people out here who hate your guts? Like, why not fight them first? You know, seriously, like start with the people who hate you the most, and then work your way around to the black folks. And but you got so many white people that want to kill you that you ain't gonna have time to get to the black people. So, you know, I'm not out here trying to kill my own. You know, I'll correct even Yvette Carnell. Y'all, some of y'all have seen, you know, Yvette, the ADOS founder. You know how she said some pretty terrible things about me, but I've never tried to crush and destroy her. I've just corrected her though, you know, because I think the ADOS movement is worth saving, and I think it's bad leadership. But if she ever called me and said I want to come on your show and debate you, I'd be like, yeah, that'd be great. Sure, come on, let's do it. We used to, it'd be just like old times. Like I totally would do that. I totally would do that. So I just want to make sure that's abundantly 100% clear, so you know where I come from. I ain't scared to debate nobody, and I love having fun conversations because I don't take it personal if you see the world in a way that's different from me. I'm just going to say I don't agree with you, and that's what we need. We need liberty in our community. We need freedom of speech. We need intellectual freedom. We need to share diverse ideas. Everybody shouldn't be thinking in the exact same way, because then you're limiting your intelligence, because you're becoming one big dumb person because you only see points of view that are similar to your own. So I challenge you to do this right now. Go find somebody who disagrees with you and shut the fuck up and listen. Just listen. Listen to their perspective and listen respectfully and try to understand. And before you rebut what they're saying, this is a good exercise. This is something I try to do. Except sometimes you get real mad and it's hard to do. But one thing you can do that'll make you smarter is listen to somebody you don't agree with and try to understand what they're saying to the point where you actually agree with them, where you can say, okay, I think I see 2 or 3 points you're making there that actually make sense. Like, agree with them first, see why their idea makes sense, and then throw your idea on top. That's the way I got used to like some of the mumble rap, because y'all know I talk shit about like hip hop, the worst hip hop, like how bad rap has gotten, where you got like this ridiculous shit coming out of these guys' mouths. In order for me to really understand it and critique it, I had to learn how to like it. So I would listen to it and I would be like, okay, I'm gonna try to like this. I'm gonna figure out why people like it. I'm gonna stop assuming that anybody who likes it is stupid, right? And I'm gonna listen and I'm gonna like it, and then after I like it, I'm gonna improve it. That's what you do. You don't come in assuming that people who disagree with you are just idiots. Because if that's how you think, then this is not the platform for you, because that's just not how we roll. That's not how a smart person rolls, because you can't see things clearly if you don't see them from multiple perspectives. That's just the reality. All right, I'm out of here, guys. Take care. Don't forget, sign up at drboycewatkins.net to get on the mailing list as well, and you get a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar. And I'll see you guys soon. Have a good night. I got to go hang out with my woman. I got to take a shower, too. If in case you wonder why I was wearing a medal around my neck, it's because I ran a 5K today, and y'all know I've been on this weight loss thing, and I'm super proud of this, and I'm super proud. I got to run with my baby, and she got me out there running, and she just, like, whooped my ass. Like, she was, like, literally, like, a mile ahead of me by the time we got done. But I finished. My fat ass finished, and I'm still losing weight, and I'm feeling good, and I want to encourage you to do the same. Just start with baby steps. Just be fat and slow like me, but just keep it moving. Never give up on yourself. You can always make an improvement in your life. Just start right now. Start today. I'll see you guys soon. Have a good night.